Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on another episode of the Opportunity Spotlight podcast. My name is Christoph Clodius, and I'm the leader of the search practice here at the Discovery Group. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Dominic Rockall, who is the CEO of Clements Center for Families, based in Duncan in the beautiful Cowichan Valley. Hi, Dominic, and thanks for joining me today.
Hi, Christoph. Good to be here.
Well, thanks very much. It's my pleasure. I'm really excited to speak to you about the Director of Development search that we have launched together. I want to speak more about it, learn a bit more about you, learn a bit more about Clements and what this fundraiser is going to be doing. Without further ado, maybe you can just start off with a bit of context for someone that isn't familiar with Clements. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
Sure. I would say on a provincial level, we'd be considered a medium-sized nonprofit society, but locally, we'd be considered a large nonprofit. We're the largest in the Cowichan Valley. We have a budget of approximately $11 million. We are a community living organization and a child development center. Typically in BC, these services are usually provided by separate organizations. You'll have one organization doing community living and another doing the child development. But in a few cases, it's one organization providing both sets of services, and that's what we are. Being a community living organization means that it's providing services for adults with developmental disabilities. That includes housing, group homes, day programs, or community inclusion programs, we call them now, where people come each day to learn life skills and do recreational activities. We have employment services, outreach supports that help people live independently. And then as a child development center, we provide services that support the healthy development of children. For example, if a child is not developing or meeting the expected milestones that you would expect in terms of language or physical development, or if a child is identified as being at risk for a delay at birth, maybe born premature, we have an array of services that support the development of children. These are therapy services for children aged 0 to 6. And we also have some peripheral services like childcare resource and referral, which is connected to the childcare world, an after-school program for children that have extra support needs.
Yeah, that's a great summary. That true towards end of life, those adult services, right? I've heard a lot about that as I learn about Clements.
We call it Twinkle to Twilight.
There you go. That's excellent. Yeah. And I've heard a lot about, in the spirit of life skills and employment, I've heard a lot about that fantastic social profit organization that you have for that matter, your social enterprise, your bakery. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that? Or are there specific programs you want to highlight that you're particularly proud of?
That is one of the programs that I'm most proud of, yes. Yeah. We have a social enterprise that employs 14 people with 14 adults with developmental disabilities. We also have employment services that employ people, workplaces throughout the community. But for some people, working in a typical work site might be a bit challenging, or they might need a lot of support. And so this program is for those folks. It's really well supported. Yeah, and it's also for people that if they want to develop some work skills before going out into the regular working world. Yeah, it's a bakery, social enterprise. It's been, we formed it in 2015, I believe, 2016.
Yeah, it only comes to mind because I love a good morning muffin or scone or something like that. So
the products
it's very self-serving for me in that essence.
Absolutely, yeah. And everybody that works in the building too takes advantage of the cookies for sure.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Dominic, you've been in this sector for some time now. You've been on the front lines at a service delivery and social work yourself. You've been a leader of the organization for many years now. Why is it you do this work? What draws you to it? What are you most proud of when you reflect on your career and the work you're doing fundamentally?
Yeah, there's quite a few things. It's great to be in a position where you can make a positive impact on people's lives. The work we do, directly goes to enhancing the quality of life for the people we serve. And in some cases, it's really central to their quality of life. That provides a sense of purpose in what you do. It's great to have a sort of sense of meaning and purpose in your work. Making connections with people, being in a position where you can develop meaningful relationships, both with the people you work with and then the people you support as well. We work in the same building as the people we support, so we see them every day, and that's just a great environment to be in. Personally, in terms of my values, I really value being in a position that promotes inclusion, equality, and equity. That's central to what we do. I really appreciate working in that environment. It just makes for a very satisfying, extrinsically rewarding work
Yeah, tell me a bit more about that. From a work perspective, that culture perspective, the director of development is going to be working with you and the other staff members on your team, the other leaders at Clements. As Clements' leader, ultimately, what is the culture you're trying to create in your teams? How does that manifest itself?
I guess, again, it's a culture of inclusion and diversity. It's foremost in what we do. The moment we're developing our ability to be a culturally safe workplace for Indigenous clients, and we try to be inclusive in terms of having gender inclusivity. That's something we're working on. So that sort of drives everything. We believe in open communication in terms of how we interact with each other. We encourage open, transparent communication at all levels. We want employees to feel comfortable sharing ideas, concerns. It's a respectful environment. Empathy is big in terms of what we do and how we connect with each other naturally as in a helping profession. They have those traits. That goes to collaboration and teamwork. As an organization, we promote learning and development. We really encourage that. We want people to develop in terms of their own learning and development personally, which that also benefits the work we do. Work-life balance is very important. We actually have an initiative to support that as well at this point. Is fundamental to what we do. The leaders to trust their teams and also be trustworthy. And all this goes to being adaptable and being innovative. We try to create a culture that's people feel free to be innovative, to have new ideas.
That's great. So between what you've shared here, the inclusion, the diversity, the adaptability, work-life balance, a trusting environment, sounds like you're really echoing the values of the organization as well as how it is that you want to work in the public with your clients, with your communities, with the children, the adults in your programs for that matter. It's pretty important to see that as pervasive through the organization. That's excellent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So let's pivot to the director of development themselves. Thinking about the hire of this new role, this new fundraising leader in the organization, why now? What's exciting and what's compelling about fundraising at Clements? That's up.
Yeah. We've been building this role for a few years. It's vacant at the moment because after the last person left, we did a reorganization of the senior management roles, created a couple of new positions, moved responsibilities around. And so we wanted the dust to settle on that before we brought in a new person. Like I said, the position's relatively new for Clements from a few years ago, and it's kind of been developing to where we are now. And the reason for that is we do receive substantial funding from the government, like other community living organizations and child development centers. We're funded to provide the services. But what we found, this funding isn't sufficient to stay ahead of the game in terms of being innovative in programming, and having the equipment to provide the services, especially the child development services. They require specialized equipment. And so there is a need to develop, to have resources beyond what we're funded from the government. And we're also considering creating a new building for some of our services, like somebody to take the lead on the fundraising for a new building.
That's excellent. So planting the seeds for that campaign, no matter what that looks like. I know there's lots of groundwork to be done there, and that's a longer term initiative, but at the same time, something that definitely is a need. And the other piece, as you said, that innovation, that equipment, a lot of organizations call that a margin of excellence. You've got some baseline funding, but to really be superior, be excellent, to provide the services that your clients really deserve and need, supplemental funding. And of course, diversifying funding. You never know with the whims of government, how things may play out ultimately.
Exactly.
It's nice to come from that position of stability in some ways too, that you have some baseline funding and the fundraiser knows that they're not fundraising ultimately to keep the doors open. That's safe to say fundamentally.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What do you see them doing, thinking about the work of the fundraiser? I know you're not a professional fundraiser yourself. You and I have talked a little bit about this, but you're learning on the job as you do it too. So how will you partner with this person and what are you looking for them to do?
We'd really like them to see it build out our major gifts program, building relationships with donors, donor stewardship, and implementing our fundraising plans.
Yeah. And developing those plans to some degree too, because you've got some baseline work done. So this person's the strategist, the planner, as well as the doer fundamentally.
Exactly. Somebody with this experience to implement a solid fundraising program.
Yeah. How would someone earn a gold star on your team? What would make you say this was a great hire or this was a successful person, aside from the obvious of raising some new dollars and diversifying funding?
Right off the bat, I would say it would be to to see the person building good relationships with the team. We were a very collaborative team. It's a collaborative environment. Really like to see that the new person just become part of that team.
That's great. Yeah. And thinking about employed fundraisers that might be listening to us right now, why do you think want to leave their job and come join you at Clements? What do you think is compelling or exciting about taking on this opportunity?
I kind of touched on it before, I think is what I was saying about what's great about working here is it's making a positive impact. It's just so rewarding, and that attracts good people. Yeah. So, you get to work alongside some remarkable people, both in terms of your colleagues and also the people that you support. Because like I said, we work in a building. We provide those services, so you get to meet those people. So that really makes for a unique kind of work experience.
Yeah. What's really stood out to me as I speak to your staff and speak to some of the leaders, even the board members for that matter, that I've been speaking with at Clements, they're really connected to mission. They're really connected to the cause. They really feel that their work is making a difference. So I love that you focused on impact there, because that is so important ultimately. Too many people are feeling at arm's length or a bit removed ultimately from the work of the organization.
Yes, for sure. When you start meeting the folks that we support, it really hits home.
Yeah. Speaking of attractiveness, then, tell me about the community. So you're based in Duncan as an organization. You serve the Cowichan Valley. I know some of your staff work in Nanaimo and Victoria, even in some cases. So tell me a little bit about the location. Tell me about Duncan and the Cowichan Valley, because presumably somebody may be relocating or coming from another community or thinking about commuting ultimately. So tell me more about the place.
It's on Vancouver Island. If you're new to the island, the first thing you notice, everything kind of slows down a little bit, depending on where you're coming from. And then you've got the natural beauty. Cowichan Valley is renowned for its natural scenery and mountains, forests, rivers, and lakes. People like hiking, biking, kayaking, nature, and all of those things. We've got that in abundance. Yeah. It's got a mild climate. If you're coming from the east, you would enjoy the...
Very much so, particularly now in the winter, yes.
Yes, yeah. We've got that mild climate going on. It's quite a diverse place in terms of festivals and events and arts and things that happen here. There's there's good community spirit here, I would say. It's a close-knit community. It's very supportive. Yeah. I've noticed that from working in other communities. The Cowichan and the Duncan seems more interconnected. Yeah. It's an interconnected kind of community. Get that feel.
That's great.
Local markets. They've got great market on the weekends and got a great little downtown with boutiques and specialty shops, and there's lots here.
Yeah, that's excellent. I've heard somebody else describe it as the Provence of Vancouver Island.
Right.
Very Mediterranean, great food, great markets. I like how you describe that lifestyle for that matter too. The pace of life seems very, very reasonable compared to people coming from other cities, perhaps.
It's close to Victoria. If people want to go to a bigger city, it's a 45-minute drive to Victoria.
Good. Big picture, thinking about the future of Clements, what excites you most about what's on the horizon for Clements beyond fundraising, as an organization as a whole? What excites you about the future of the organization?
It's really exciting to be a part of an organization that's dynamic and growing. In the past 5 years, the budget has grown by 30%. And that just kind of happens by default. If you provide a good service in this sector, you're just going to grow because the demand just keeps increasing, as more people move into the region. Also in the community living world, these services started in the 60s. It was started by a group of parents, actually, because back in the 50s, before the 50s, if you had a child with special needs, you were advised to send them to an institution. And so we have these large institutions that existed. And then there weren't really services in your community to support your child's education and development. And so in the 50s, a group of parents got together across BC and they formed these little schools. Often in church basements. A little bit of funding was provided by the government, and these little schools popped up for their children. And it's fascinating to read about it because it was across BC. It was the same story. Yeah. These little schools. And then in the 60s, they grew, and these children started to grow up. Yeah. And then they needed more services. And these children, they're still around today. They're older now. But throughout that whole time, more people have been coming into the system, and they still are today. It's just natural that it's just going to grow, and there's going to be a need for more and more services. That's why we poised to just grow and develop. And right now we're working on building the infrastructure to accommodate growth. We've moved a bunch of processes to digital, cloud-based. We're looking at our physical space to build that out, changed our management structure to accommodate growth and development. So it's a really vibrant, exciting time to be part of the organization.
That's great. Well, that's a great way of capturing it. You've certainly captured my attention and hopefully captured some attention of people that might be interested in joining such a dynamic, exciting organization in such a highly collaborative environment in a beautiful part of the world. What more? What can we say? For that matter, is there anything more you want to say? Anything else you want to add just in closing, or any final messages for potential candidates or curious people?
I would just say that in general, this sector is very fun, kind of exciting sector to work in. It's full of compassionate and caring people. Again, both the people you work with and the people you support. It's just a great environment to work in.
That's fantastic. Well, really appreciate your time here, Dominic. If anybody is interested in learning more, we certainly welcome and encourage curiosity. Even if someone has a few questions, they can contact me directly at christoph@thediscoverygroup.ca, or have a look at our website for the full opportunity spotlight that we're recording here, obviously, but also the position profile is posted there as well. And looking forward to working with you as we continue the search.
Thank you very much, Christoph.
Thanks, Dominic. Really appreciate it. Take care. Bye now.
Bye now.